never seen a human up close before. She hovered just outside the human spacecraft, her long silver hair glinting under the pale sun. Her eyes, large and glowing, reflected a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. Stories of humans had reached her ears when she was a child, tales of their unpredictable minds, strange ways, and most of all their biology. She had been told humans were fragile, bound by seasons and cycles, incapable of what her people called true constant reproduction. It was almost a legend to her people, a thing so impossible that no one had ever questioned it seriously, until now. The human stepped forward from the spacecraft, tall and calm, with a strange warmth in his eyes that she could not ignore. He looked different from the descriptions she had heard. He did not radiate raw energy like her people, yet there was something magnetic about him, something in the way he moved, measured yet alive. Felt her chest tighten unexpectedly. She wasn't used to feeling emotions so sharply. "You're lying," she said finally, her voice musical but firm. "Humans cannot reproduce all year. It's impossible. Your kind cannot survive without cycles." Smiled a small, confident smile and tilted his head as if he had been expecting this challenge all along. "You want proof?" he asked softly, his voice carrying calm certainty. "Do you want me to show you, or will you just keep doubting?" Lips parted in surprise. No other species she had met had dared speak with such audacity. She had always been taught that humans were weak, chaotic, and unpredictable, yet this one did not seem afraid. Her heart beat faster, a mix of anger and fascination she could not name. How could such a fragile creature hold himself with so much confidence? Her mind raced. She thought of her own people, perfect cycles, predictable behavior, controlled lives. Everything about seemed alive in a different way. "You dare speak like that to me?" she asked, trying to sound commanding, though a tremor betrayed her nerves. "I dare," said simply, stepping closer. "I don't lie. Humans are not like your people. We adapt, we endure, we bond. Seasons do not control us. Emotions, choices, and connections do. You might not understand, but it is the truth." Felt a strange sensation in her chest. Something warm, something unfamiliar. She had never felt doubt like this, not in her life. Doubt was dangerous. Doubt was weakness. Yet standing here, staring at, she felt it rising, weaving with curiosity. Could it be possible? Could these humans truly defy nature itself? I need to see," she whispered, more to herself than to him. She clenched her fists, trying to steady herself. Her people valued logic and proof above all. Belief without evidence was foolishness. Yet the truth of words ignited a spark inside her, one she did not want to ignore. Reached out, offering a hand in reassurance, and hesitated. Her instincts screamed caution. But another part of her, a new, unexplored part, told her to trust. Slowly, she placed her hand in his. The warmth was startling, more than physical. It was a sense of connection, something her rigid logic could not explain. "You may doubt me," said softly, "but in time you will see the human way is different, powerful even, not bound by cycles, not by seasons. You will understand." His glowing eyes softened slightly, her pride warring with the strange thrill of intrigue. She had always been taught that her species' rules were unbreakable. Now, standing before this human, she wondered if she had been wrong all her life. A breeze passed between them, carrying scents from the human ship, warm, earthy, alive. She inhaled sharply. Her instincts told her to retreat to maintain control. Yet she found herself rooted in place, captivated by something she could not name and unsure if she wanted to resist. For the first time in her life, realized that humans were not just another species. They were something extraordinary, unpredictable, audacious, alive in a way that everything she had learned. And he was living proof. Her heart raced and a new thought took root, wild and thrilling. Perhaps humans were not fragile. Perhaps they were not bound. Perhaps in ways her people could not understand, humans were unstoppable. Followed into the human spacecraft, her steps cautious, yet her curiosity grew with every moment. The interior was small but organized, glowing softly with panels of light that shifted with their movements. She had expected chaos, disorder, but instead there was balance, a strange harmony she could not explain. It was different from the sterile, predictable environments of technology. Motioned for her to sit, and she hesitated before lowering herself onto the soft human seat. He moved with a quiet grace, pulling up a holographic screen that displayed images and data of human life. "You see," he began. Humans are unique. Our cycles are not dictated by the seasons of a planet or chemical pheromones alone. We bond, we connect, and we make choices that influence our biology. Tilted her head, her glowing eyes narrowing in skepticism. Choices, emotions affecting biology, that is illogical. Smiled a warm and patient smile. To you, it may seem illogical, but humans are flexible. We can adapt to conditions, survive beyond expected limits, and our bonds, our emotional bonds, often guide our survival more than instinct alone. He pulled up images of human communities, showing families, friends, celebrations, and simple daily life. See these, he said. We create connections year-round. That emotional rhythm affects everything, even our ability to reproduce. It is not strictly seasonal. It is constant in its own way. His mind raced. Her people measured fertility by lunar cycles and chemical peaks. There was no room for choice, no room for spontaneity. Her people valued predictability above all. Yet, as she watched the humans on the screen laugh, hug, and care for each other, a strange feeling grew inside her, something beyond curiosity. She felt awe, an emotion unfamiliar and dizzying. Even if it is true, said cautiously, it defies nature itself. All of this, it should not be possible. Sometimes the impossible is only impossible until someone lives it, replied gently. Humans have survived wars, disasters, and chaos. We thrive in uncertainty. We endure because we adapt and because we bond. That is our strength. His heart beat faster. The warmth of his words penetrated her logical mind, and a subtle thrill stirred in her chest. She had never imagined that biology could be so intertwined with emotion. Logic ruled everything. Love was a calculated exchange of pheromones and cycles, but here it felt alive, raw, and unpredictable. She looked at his eyes steady and honest. You are telling me that humans can choose to bond, to connect, to continue life no matter the season. Yes, he said softly. It is not about cycles. It is about heart, courage, and choice. We endure because we want to, not because we must. That is what makes humans special. Felt a sudden pang of envy for their freedom, the freedom to choose, to love, to live on instinct tempered by emotion. She had always felt bound by her biology, by the strict rules of her species. And yet, standing here, she realized how limited she had been. His words did more than teach. They challenged everything she thought she knew. You make it sound simple, she whispered, but it is beautiful, terrifying, yet beautiful. Extended his hand gently. It is beautiful because it is real. And humans, we are not just biology. We are spirit, heart, and mind. That combination makes us capable of things your people cannot even imagine. Hesitated, then placed her hand in his. The warmth radiated through her, touching not just her skin, but something deeper, something unmeasured and alive. She realized that proof was not only in science or data, it was in the experience, in the feeling, in the living truth before her. For the first time, understood that humans were more than what she had been taught. They were resilient, daring, unpredictable, and perhaps most astonishing of all, boundless. Her curiosity flared into something new. She wanted to understand, to witness, to experience this human way fully. The skepticism that had ruled her mind now shared space with awe, with desire, and with a strange, thrilling hope. As the spacecraft hummed softly around them, felt a shift in herself. Perhaps humans were not limited by the rigid rules she knew. Perhaps in their unpredictability, in their strength of heart, they could truly defy the impossible, decided that words alone were not enough. Skepticism still lingered in her mind, even as her curiosity burned brighter than ever. Had spoken of humans' extraordinary adaptability, of their ability to connect and endure, but she needed proof that was undeniable. Her people trusted only observation, measurement, and experiment. Words were fragile, facts were concrete. She led to a specially designed chamber in her spacecraft, a space filled with instruments she had created to simulate most precise environmental conditions. Light cycles mimicked the waxing and waning moons of her home planet. Air was infused with pheromones that triggered reproductive instincts in her species. Every control, every sensor was calibrated to perfection. Nothing could escape her scrutiny. Stepped in calmly, his movements easy and untroubled. He did not flinch, did not resist, did not complain. His human confidence, so steady, made Santeni quiver in subtle fascination. He seemed to belong anywhere, even in her world of strict rules. "You will observe," she said, her voice a mixture of command and tension. "Every change in temperature, every cycle, every scent. You will show me the truth or you will be meaningless." Met her gaze evenly. "I am already showing you the truth. Observation is only proof if you allow yourself to see." The experiment began, activated the chamber. Lights shifted, temperatures adjusted, pheromones circulated. Every instrument recorded data meticulously. She studied with hawk-like intensity, waiting for any fluctuation that could betray his human limits. Yet he remained constant, physically, emotionally, biologically. He breathed steadily, his heart rate measured, his reactions gentle but alive. Hours passed, ran calculations, checked sensors, and observed him under every conceivable variable. Each reading confirmed the impossible. His biology did not conform to the cycles she had expected. There were no peaks, no valleys, no predetermined limits. He adapted. He endured. He remained whole. "I don't understand," she whispered, stepping back from the instruments. Her voice trembled slightly, a rare crack in her controlled exterior. "Nothing in your biology should allow this. You defy every rule." Approached her, his presence calm, reassuring. "I told you, humans are different. We are not bound by cycles or seasons. We endure because we choose to, because we adapt, because we feel. The heart is stronger than instinct, and the mind can guide biology in ways your people cannot even imagine." Santeni twitched nervously. She had always prided herself on knowledge, on certainty. And now she realized she was witnessing a truth that no calculation or measurement had ever predicted. She felt a mix of awe and fear, admiration, and a strange, unexplained desire. She had never experienced anything like this, a living proof that her universe's rules were not universal. "Is this really possible?" she asked softly. "Even with all your emotions, all your choices, you can sustain yourself constantly." "Yes," said, reaching out. His hand hovered near hers, an offer of reassurance. "It is possible because humans are extraordinary. We endure, we survive, and we bond in ways that cannot be measured by sensors or predicted by cycles. We are unstoppable in our own way." Hesitated, then touched his hand lightly. The warmth startled her, traveling deeper than her physical senses. Her chest tightened, and her mind, so used to rigid logic, raced with new understanding. Proof was not only in the instruments. It was in the presence, in the living, breathing reality of this human before her. For the first time, she felt the weight of wonder mixed with desire. She realized that humans were not just biologically unique. They were emotionally, spiritually, and mentally extraordinary. They could defy expectation, survive the impossible, and inspire awe in even the most rigid of minds. And calm and steady in the face of her scrutiny was living proof. Took a deep breath, her glowing eyes fixed on him. She had begun this experiment seeking validation, seeking logic. Instead, she found something more powerful, the undeniable truth that humans were extraordinary and that trust, connection, and resilience could surpass even the strictest rules of biology. Her heart raced as realization settled in. Humans were not bound. Humans were not limited. Humans were unstoppable. The news of fascination with spread quickly through her, and whispers of disapproval soon reached her ears. Her peers and elders viewed her curiosity as reckless, even dangerous. "Humans are chaotic," her mentor warned. "They cannot be trusted. You risk dishonor to yourself and your species." His glowing eyes narrowed. She had never been confronted so directly with doubt, especially from those she respected. Yet, despite the fear and pressure, she could not turn away from what she had witnessed. Humans were unlike anything her rigid world had prepared her for, was unlike anyone she had ever known. His presence stirred emotions she could not measure or control. "You do not understand," she replied, her voice firm despite the tremor of uncertainty beneath it. "He is not like your stories. Humans, they are extraordinary." Her mentor shook her head. "Extraordinary does not mean safe. You are blinded by fascination. You risk your logic, your honor, even your life." But felt a strange defiance welling inside her, stronger than fear. She had always been taught that rules were absolute, that cycles and control governed everything. And yet, standing near, she realized that rigidity was not the only path to strength. Humans had a freedom her people could not conceive. They were unpredictable, resilient, and alive in a way that transcended logic. Unable to quell her curiosity, she decided to leave temporarily traveling beyond her planet's familiar rules. They boarded the spacecraft together, leaving behind the familiar hum of the city, and ventured toward distant human settlements. The journey itself was a lesson. Every action, every decision, every tiny adjustment of the ship required trust and improvisation, qualities that were alien to her structured mind. Guided her through the human world, showing her their ways of living. They shared simple meals, walked along crowded streets filled with laughter and music, and observed humans working together to overcome challenges. Saw humans bonding not because of instinct, not because of cycles, but because of choices and emotions. They celebrated life in ways her people could not imagine. This is so different," she whispered one evening as they watched a group of humans dance in a festival under artificial lights. Her antennae twitched nervously, betraying the mix of fascination and fear inside her. "It terrifies me, and yet it is beautiful." Looked at her, his eyes warm and steady. "Humans are not bound by rules. We create our own patterns, our own ways to endure and thrive. You see chaos, but it is also harmony, just different from what you know." Her heart raced. She realized that the humans' unpredictability was not weakness, it was strength. Their choices, their emotions, their resilience all combined to create a force that was impossible to control, yet profoundly powerful. Standing beside her embodied this strength in the quietest of ways. His presence reassured her even as it unsettled her. Later, as they rested under a sky unfamiliar to her, admitted softly, "I do not fully understand it yet, but I feel it. Humans, they are alive in ways my people have never taught me. I want to learn more." Smiled, reaching out his hand. "Then you will, and the more you experience, the more you will see that humans are not only capable of enduring, they are capable of inspiring. Their spirit is limitless." His chest tightened as she accepted his hand. She realized that her journey was more than learning about humans' biology. It was learning to trust, to feel, to open herself to possibilities beyond the strict rules of her upbringing. Her people valued certainty and control, but the human world showed her that freedom, courage, and emotion could be even stronger. The cultural clash within her own mind was intense. Fear and doubt warred with awe and desire. Yet even amidst uncertainty, a new truth emerged. Humans, and in particular, were teaching her that strength could be found not in rigidity, but in choice, connection, and resilience. For the first time, felt the exhilaration of embracing the unknown. The universe was larger than the rules she had been taught, and humans, fascinating, unpredictable, extraordinary humans, were a force she could not ignore. The storm came without warning. Dark clouds rolled over twin moons and fierce winds tore across the landscape, and were caught far from shelter in a narrow canyon that amplified the howl of the storm. The air was thick with tension, charged with electricity and fear. For the first time, felt vulnerable in a way she could not control. Her antennae twitched nervously, her glowing eyes scanning every shadow for danger. As she whispered, her voice trembling, This is dangerous. You could be lying. What if your human adaptability fails?" Moved closer, his expression calm amid the chaos. "I won't fail," he said, voice steady against the storm. "Trust me, we will get through this." She wanted to believe him, yet doubt clawed at her. Her entire life had been shaped by cycles, rules, and strict certainty. To step into uncertainty, to place faith in a human, was more terrifying than she could express. And yet, something in his presence made her want to try. Something in the quiet confidence in his eyes drew her forward, even as fear gripped her heart. Lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating the jagged cliffs around them. The roar of the storm seemed almost alive, challenging them, testing them. His instincts screamed to retreat, to hide, to control, but held her gaze unflinching. "Trust is not about certainty," he said, his voice almost a whisper above the wind. "It's about choosing to believe even when you cannot predict what will happen. That is what makes humans strong." Her chest tightened. Words alone could not convince her. She needed to feel it, experience it. She felt herself stepping closer, drawn by an invisible force that her training. Her heart raced, a mixture of fear, awe, and a strange, thrilling excitement. Suddenly, a branch snapped nearby and froze. grabbed her hand, steady and warm, anchoring her against the storm. She felt the human warmth through her skin, but it was more than warmth. It was reassurance, it was certainty and uncertainty. It was proof that trust could survive even the most chaotic forces. "You could leave me," she whispered, voice tight. "You could prove me wrong, and I would never forgive myself." "I won't leave you," said, his voice calm but firm. "Humans endure, we protect those we care for, that is part of who we are." Her glowing eyes softened, and she realized the storm outside mirrored the storm within her. Fear, doubt, curiosity, and all collided at once. And yet, even in that chaos, something new emerged: trust. Trust that, and humans like him, could survive the impossible. Trust that connection, courage, and heart could overcome instinct, cycles, and logic. They huddled together, side by side, as the storm raged. Felt her fear slowly ebbing, replaced by an emotion she had never experienced so strongly. Faith. Faith in a being so different from her own species, yet so capable of extraordinary strength. Faith that humans were more than what she had ever been taught. Hours passed, and the storm began to subside. The air grew calmer, lighter, and felt a quiet thrill of victory, not over nature, but over her own doubts. She had survived the test of trust. She had leaned into uncertainty, and in doing so, discovered the resilience of humans. Looked at her, calm and unshaken, and realized something profound. Humans did not just endure cycles or seasons. They endured chaos, uncertainty, and fear, and they did it with courage, heart, and connection. Her chest swelled with admiration and awe. I understand now," she said softly, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "Humans are extraordinary, not because we measure their biology, but because they choose to endure, to trust, to feel." Smiled, brushing a stray strand of her silver hair from her face. "And now you know why they survive, why they thrive, why they inspire awe in even the most logical of minds." His heart raced, not with fear, but with wonder. The storm outside had passed, yet inside her, a new world had opened. One where humans were not just a species, but a force of courage, choice, and boundless possibility. For the first time understood, trust was more powerful than instinct. Courage was stronger than fear. And humans in all their unpredictable glory were unstoppable. After the storm, and journeyed further from, traveling toward a remote valley where twin suns painted the skies with gold and violet. The landscape was unlike anything had seen, lush, alive, and teeming with movement. She felt a strange thrill as they walked among the swaying fields, watching the wind ripple through the tall grass. Humans were not just resilient, she realized. They were deeply attuned to life itself. Moved beside her with ease, pointing out small details. "See the way the river bends, how the plants grow around it. Life adapts to the environment. That's what humans do too. We endure not because we are bound by cycles, but because we choose to flow with the world." His eyes glimmered as she observed him. He spoke simply, yet every word carried weight. Humans chose their path. They were not dictated by biology alone. They could survive, create, and bond in ways her species could not understand. Her heart ached with awe. How had she underestimated them all these years? They came to a small settlement at the edge of the valley, where humans lived in harmony with the land. Children ran barefoot through the fields, laughing as they chased birds. Elders tended gardens with careful hands, guiding young apprentices with patience. His glowing eyes followed each movement, trying to capture the depth of connection she witnessed. "Every human here," said softly, "chooses to care, to connect, to live fully. It's not instinct alone, it's heart. That is why humans endure and why our kind survives even the harshest conditions." Felt her chest tighten. She had studied human biology from texts, from spacecraft records, from stories, but none of that compared to witnessing life firsthand. The energy, the emotion, the choices, all of it intertwined in ways no sensor could measure. Humans were alive in ways her people could not imagine. She turned to, her voice barely above a whisper. "I always thought humans were fragile, limited, bound by weakness. But I see now, you are limitless, not because of biology, but because of spirit." Smiled a soft, knowing smile. "It is the human way. Strength is not just in the body. Strength is in heart, in mind, in courage. We endure because we choose to endure. That is what makes us extraordinary." For a long moment was silent, overwhelmed by revelation. Her entire understanding of life, biology, and power had been shaken. Humans were not bound by cycles, seasons, or instinct alone. They created their own paths. They expectation through courage, adaptability, and connection. "You've opened my eyes," she admitted, her glowing features reflecting the twin suns. "I wanted proof. I thought I needed science to believe, but now I feel it. Humans are alive in ways no formula could measure. You inspire, endure, and create all at once." Reached out, placing a steady hand on hers. "And now you see why we endure. It's not just survival, it's passion, curiosity, courage. That is the human spirit, and it is unstoppable when we choose to embrace it." Santeni twitched as emotion flooded her. Wonder, admiration, a fragile spark of something more personal she could not yet name. Her skepticism had melted, replaced by awe and deep respect. Humans were more than biology. They were a force, an unmeasured power that reshaped even the most rigid minds. She looked out across the valley, watching humans live fully, freely, and with intent. Her heart swelled with understanding. "I see it now," she whispered to herself. "Humans are not limited. Humans are alive in ways my people could never comprehend." Squeezed her hand gently. "And you are part of this now. You understand. You have seen. And in seeing, you have felt the truth. Humans endure, thrive, and inspire because we choose to every day." For the first time, felt not just proof, but revelation. Humans were extraordinary. Their strength was not only physical, but emotional and spiritual. They were limitless, unstoppable, and alive in ways her people could never imagine. As the twin suns dipped low, painting the valley in golden light, realized something profound. Humans were not simply a species. They were a force of life, courage, and connection, and had shown her the undeniable truth of it, stood on the edge of the valley, her silver hair glowing softly under the light of the twin suns. The wind whispered through the tall grass, carrying scents of earth, flowers, and life itself. She felt a sense of peace she had never known, a stillness that was alive with possibility. Stood beside her, calm, confident, yet gentle, a living proof of the human spirit she had come to admire and respect. For weeks she had observed humans, walked among them, shared moments that measurement. She had seen their laughter, their determination, their resilience. She had witnessed children learning, elders teaching, and every choice, every bond, every connection seemed to pulse with life. It was unlike anything she had ever experienced where cycles ruled and emotions were secondary to instinct. Here, life was not bound by rules. It was created, nurtured, and celebrated. Took a deep breath and turned to. "I wanted proof," she said softly, her voice trembling with the weight of realization. "I thought I needed science, observation, calculations, but proof is not enough. I see it now. Humans, you are extraordinary." Smiled, his eyes warm. "Extraordinary because of heart, not because of instinct or cycles. Humans endure because we choose to, because we bond, because we care. That is our strength." Her chest swelled with emotion. She had feared doubt, feared unpredictability, feared being wrong. And yet she felt something stronger than fear, admiration, awe, and trust. The truth of humans was undeniable. Their biology alone did not define them. Their power came from spirit, choice, and the courage to endure. She realized that humans were not limited, they were unstoppable. Reached out and placed her hand in. The warmth was grounding, anchoring her in a way that no instrument, no measurement could. She felt the pulse of life, the living proof of what he had told her. Humans were extraordinary not because of what they were told to be, but because of what they chose to become. "I understand now," she whispered, eyes glowing. "I see why your people survive, why your kind thrives, why humans endure the impossible. It is not biology alone. It is courage, heart, and choice. It is freedom." Nodded, his gaze steady. "And now you know, humans are not fragile. We are not limited. We are alive in ways your world cannot imagine, and that power is in every human who chooses to embrace it." The wind rustled through the valley as felt a profound shift within herself. She had begun this journey seeking proof, seeking logic. Instead, she had discovered wonder, connection, and awe. She had discovered that strength was not just measured in cycles, not just dictated by biology, but lived in the choices one made every day, in trust, in courage, and in heart. She looked out over the valley, at humans living fully, freely, and vibrantly. Each movement, each bond, each laugh was a testament to the extraordinary capacity of their kind. Her heart swelled with admiration, and she realized that the human spirit was a force that could not be contained or predicted. It could only be witnessed and respected. Turned back to her voice soft but filled with certainty. I wanted proof, but what I feel now, what I know, it is more than proof. Humans, you inspire, you endure, you are unstoppable. Reached out and gently took both her hands in his. That is the truth, and now you see it for yourself. Humans are not bound by fear or rules or cycles. We are extraordinary because we choose to be. For the first time, felt complete trust, not only in but in humanity itself. She understood that humans, power was not a matter of instinct or season, but a matter of heart. She had come seeking proof, and instead she had found revelation, wonder, and a truth that would change her forever. As the twin suns dipped behind the distant mountains, painting the sky with gold and violet, smiled her heart full. She had seen the extraordinary, lived it, and embraced it. Humans were limitless. Humans were resilient. Humans were alive in ways her world could never measure. And standing beside, she finally understood the full meaning of what she had learned. Some truths are not measured, they are felt. Some strength is not given, it is chosen. And some species, humans, are simply unstoppable.